Hey everyone, this is Tiesha, aka flyTie of flyTie Clothing, and today I'm going to be doing a brief demonstration to show you how to make a very simple and basic skirt style. The skirt style is called the handkerchief skirt, and you've probably seen this style in stores. It's the one that has the uneven hem. It'll be different points on the skirt at the bottom, and this is a very flattering style for the female form. It's very easy to make. You don't even need a pattern, and today I'm going to show you how to make it using stretch knit material. Okay, now what you're going to need for this project is approximately 2.5 yards of stretch knit material. Okay, and then you're going to need some coordinating thread or matching thread. Some of the fabric is going to be used for the actual skirt, and some is going to be used for the waistband that is going to help the skirt stay up on your waist. There is a little bit of math involved, but basically there's a chart you can use to determine what you're going to need, to make the opening wide enough to get up over your hips. Because basically we're going to start with a square. We're going to cut a hole in a square, which is basically 4 layers of fabric that we're going to fold up. You're going to cut a hole in the top corner, the folded corner, and once you open that up, you're going to have the circumference of the circle that is needed to fit up over your hips so the skirt can actually come on. Okay, now I'm going to show you. I have my fabric here, and I'm going to show you how you need to fold this in order to create your skirt. All right, now when you get your fabric, I said at least 2.5 yards. Also, let it be between 56 and 60 inches wide. And if it's a knit fabric, it probably will be that, because most knits are pretty wide fabrics already. Okay, now here we go. I have this fabric folded lengthwise. It's just doubled over on this top corner. I'm sorry, the top fold, and it's folded, just lengthwise. I'm gonna take it kind of like when you're folding sheets. You see that? And this is like a burgundy fabric. I'm going to take it and fold it corner to corner, and now I have a square. Okay, that's my square. That's what I need to make this skirt with no pattern. Okay, now this top corner up here is what I'm going to be working with. I've already marked my line. On the chart that I mentioned, it tells you, all you do is look on the chart, find your hips, and it'll tell you how wide your curve needs to be in order to get the final circle that you need. Like if you look on that chart and you have 40-inch hips, it's going to tell you to make your line to start drawing your curve 6 3/8 inches down from the top corner. Okay, here's my top corner up here. This is the folded corner. All I would do is measure down 6 3/8 and make a mark. Okay, over here on the side, this is my corner. I measure down 6 3/8 to right here and make a mark. I come over to the other side, start at the top corner, 6 3/8, and measure and mark. And all you do now is, once you have your 3 or 4 points you make measuring down from that top corner, you connect the dots and just create a curved line. Okay, now it tells you for 40-inch hips to make your marks 6 3/8 inches down. I can tell you right now, if you're using a knit material, once you cut that circle up open, it's probably going to be much wider than 40 inches. Okay, what I've done on mine, but go ahead, go ahead and use it, or you can just kind of guesstimate, what you want it to be. I've made mine 4 inches down from the top corner, because I know that when I cut this out, I want it to be, a certain width all the way around. I don't want it to be too big or too small. But seeing as how it's a knit, I know it's going to stretch anyway, and it's going to get up over the hips anyway. Okay, so let me see if you can see that. You see that? That's my curve, my top corner up here. And I just went on and measured down at 3 points, connected the dots, and I have that little curve, All right, so that's what we're dealing with. All right, now all I'm going to do is cut that out along that white line that I made with my tailor's chalk. I take my scissors and I'm going to cut this out over here on the side. And this is 4 layers of fabric, you know, so it's going to be kind of thick to cut, but you can do it. If you have one of those little rotary scissors, those really come in handy when cutting through multiple layers of fabric. That or some good scissors, okay? So now what it looks like is, I still got my square shape. You see? But in one corner now, I have a piece that has been cut out. Alright? Now when I open this up, you're going to see that this is a circle that I was talking about in the beginning. And this is going to be the circle, the edge that comes up over your hips. Okay? Now even though I didn't go with what the chart said and I just kind of eyeballed it and made my own number and did 4 inches, this is going to get up over, let me go ahead and measure and tell you how wide this is. It's tricky, like sometimes it's tricky dealing with, you know, the circumference and the circle and what's it going to be in the final product, you know, it can be tricky sometimes. But this is stretching out to 21 inches. So even though I didn't go with what the chart says, this is definitely going to be wide enough to get up over 40-inch hips. This skirt is going to fit like a medium to, you know, a large, a small as well, okay? That's the good thing about knits. They're very diverse in the way that they fit the body. Alright, so look, you can see I got that look that I'm going for, that asymmetrical hem thing going on. But what I like to do, I don't like my asymmetrical skirts to have the long points on each side. So what I'm going to do is just kind of play around with it and twist it till I get it hanging a way that I like. And if you can see what I'm doing with my fingers up here, all I'm doing is just playing and twisting it around. You see how I'm twisting that? Just twisting it till I get it looking like something that I like. And I like that. I like when it's you know, very uneven like that, when the long points are not hanging to one side or the other. It's pretty much even. So what I typically do, once I have it looking the way that I want, I take my 2 sides and put a little notch with my scissors. Not too deep, just a little notch. Snip and snip. That way I'll know if I put the skirt down and go do something else and I come back to it, I'll know that that's the way that I want it to be. If I pick it up, I look for my 2 notches and I know they should be on either side. Okay, so when I come back and pick it up, I have the look that I want with my skirt, okay? So that's basically your skirt part. Now we need to create the waistband, okay? My top edge of my skirt measures out to about 40, it'll stretch out to about 42 inches all the way around. But if I don't stretch it, it measures out to 17, let's see, it measures out to 17 inches, okay? Alright, so I want to create a waistband. Now, I don't want my waistband too big. I want it to be kind of snug. I want it to be something that'll stretch and get up over the hips. But once it's on the hips, I want it to sit comfortably on the waist and, you know, not fall off. So what I'm going to do is, this is measuring 17 inches unstretched. I'm going to make my waistband be a finished length of, let's say, that would be 34 inches unstretched. I'm going to go ahead and make it, let's say, 32 inches around, or 16 inches, you know, one way. So let me get me some maroon fabric here. And I'm going to create me a waistband. I want it to be stretchy, okay? I want it to be able to stretch. I want my waistband to be finished width of 10 inches, which means that, I'm sorry, finished width of 5 inches, which means that I need to start with 10-inch wide, because what you're going to do on that waistband is going to get folded over. You're going to create a waistband by folding the fabric over, okay? Okay. So I need to start out with it being 10 inches. That way when I fold it, it'll be 5 inches, alright? Now, I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure down 10 inches. Plus a little extra for my seam allowance. So let's just say I need 2 seam allowances. So let's say 11 and 1/2 or something like that. Okay, I'm just measuring down 11.5. That's how wide I want my waistband to be. And I'm gonna go ahead, let me make me a little mark so I'll know that I want this at 11.5 inches. Okay. Now I'm just gonna fold this, and to make it easier for myself to cut, I'm gonna just fold it, and then here's my 11-inch mark down here. I'm gonna just cut the fabric across. I'm cutting that off, and that's going to be my waistband. Well, the beginning stages of my waistband anyway, because I'm gonna go ahead and make it smaller than this. All right, here we go. And I don't know if you can see, but I'm just cutting a piece of fabric from the waistband. I mean, this skirt is so, like really, it's so forgiving, and the style is just so very basic and forgiving. And my scissors probably need to be sharpened because they act like they don't want to go. But they're getting there. Alright, so now I basically have a piece that's going to serve as my waistband. But I only want it to be 16 inches across. So I'm going to cut some of this extra off. I'm going to take my tape measure and just measure 16 inches across, plus a little bit extra, you know, seam allowance. And I'm going to add on for 2 seam allowances because I have 2, wait, let me see. Okay, no, I only have a seam on one side, so I only need to do enough for 1 seam allowance. So I'm just going to do 16 inches across and then add 5/8 to that, okay? So 16 and 5/8. I'm going to go ahead and mark that on here, and then I'm going to cut it. Just take my measuring tape, and I'm just measuring across my fabric to 16 and 5/8, okay? And this little chalk pen pencil holder thing, I was so excited when I found this at the store because it comes in very handy. You know, I think I like it much better than those pencils that you gotta keep sharpening and everything. All right, 16 and 5/8. Measure that, and now created my little mark for 16 and 5/8. It's about right there, and I'm going to cut this extra fabric off over here. And I'm trying to do all this in one spot on the table. I typically would be on the floor doing this. I prefer to work on the floor, but hey, I'm trying to do it in the camera so I can show you. Yeah, these scissors are definitely going to have to be sharpened. They're not happy. Alright, so basically this is my waistband, okay? It's 10 inches wide right now, but the finished product is going to be 5 inches wide. It's going to be in half, okay? So now what I'm going to do is put right sides together. This is the right side. I want to put the right sides together and sew my seam together. 5/8 inches on this side, okay? So I'll turn it so you can see me sewing. Alright, let's get this machine back up. So here we go, 5/8 inches, and if you need to pin it, go ahead and pin it. I'm just going to sew it for now. Back to the jacket end, and what I like to do is do a double stitch. So even though I just sewed it at 5/8, right here. I'm gonna sew it again at 5/8. Okay, it's just for durability. Now at this point, I have my seam up here. You see it? And you can see that edge is not really even up there. In a perfect world, that would be much straighter than that, but I'm trying to cut on my table and do a demonstration, so it's not exactly perfectly straight, okay? But I have my seam allowance. Now at this point, if you want to serge it, you can go ahead and serge that together. But you can also leave it like this because this is going to be on the inside of the waistband anyway, so you won't see it. All right. Now what I'm going to do, with my seams open, see the seams are open, I'm going to go ahead and fold my waistband in half, wrong sides together. So you're just going to kind of fold it over to create the actual waistband. Okay, if I can get in there. Alright, so there's my waistband. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the waistband together, and this is a step that will help you. Like sometimes pinning it will help you to keep it together. Okay, so I'm just going to put a few pins in it in strategic locations, and make sure you're putting your edges together. I'm going to just do about, let's say, 4 pins, okay? Make sure you're catching it. And we're going to attach this waistband to the skirt. Alright? So let's bring this back up and see if you can see. Now, I have my waistband. I got it pinned together. And now I want to attach it to the skirt. Now, something you could do is you could sew this together. You could do like a basting stitch, which is, you know, just a loose stitch all the way around. Okay, now if you do that, make sure you kind of stretching the fabric a little bit as you go, so that when you go to attach it to your skirt, you won't have a problem with attaching it due to the stitching. Okay, so now I'm going to take my skirt, and remember I made me 2 little notches, so I'll know how I want my skirt to hang. And my notches are here. One on this side, and then one on this side, okay? There's my skirt. Let me get back. Now you can kind of see it taking shape, okay? I want to attach this waistband. The way I do that is, I take it. Now, I like to match my seam up with one of the notches. So I'm going to kind of like put the waistband over onto the skirt, right sides together. I'm going to match up the seam of the waistband, which you can probably see it. It's right there. I'm going to match that up with the notch, one of the notches that I made in the skirt, okay? This is the right side. I'm attaching it to the right side of the skirt, okay? And this fabric has a definite right and wrong side. Some fabrics may or may not. Some fabrics may not have that, but this one definitely does, okay? Now once I have that seam attached to that notch, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of go around. You see how that waistband is now, currently is folded down onto the skirt, okay? I'm gonna go around and pin my waistband to my skirt in different places, okay? Here's my skirt in one hand. Here's my waistband in another hand. The waistband has 2 layers. The skirt has 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pin that to the skirt. And just readjust my pins, okay? Now, I didn't cut my waistband the same size as my skirt, so my waistband is going to be shorter, which means in some places I'm going to have to stretch it to get it to fit, and that's perfectly fine, okay? That's perfectly fine, and I actually prefer that because I know that way that the waistband is going to fit snugly up on the waist when it's all said and done, okay? Just Just make sure you're lining everything up evenly. Okay. That. And I'm sorry, like I know I go out of focus sometimes off the camera, but I'm trying to just get it situated and then bring it back up and show you. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just going around and pinning the two layers of my waistband are being pinned to the skirt, okay? And a couple more points, and then we'll be ready to sew this together. The main thing is to know that you have your right sides together so that when you sew it and you flip the waistband out, you'll have it on there correctly. Okay, now, here it is. I have my waistband attached to my skirt, and it's looking kind of weird because of the way I'm pulling it. But the waistband is folded down onto the skirt, and once it's sewn on, we're going to flip it up and you're going to have your skirt, okay? So let's go ahead and sew this together. And I'm going to sew from the inside of my skirt as opposed to sewing on top of the waistband. You can do it however you feel comfortable doing it. Alright, so we're going to do this at 5/8. And if you're not used to sewing with pins, make sure you take your pins out before you sew over them. Go back stitch in the beginning, because you don't want your needle to hit those pins and break your needle, okay? But if if you've been sewing a while, you can probably take the needles out, the pins out, or just sew with no pins. I typically like to use them when I'm doing something like this. Okay? And as I'm going, I'm kind of stretching it to make sure that it is fitting onto, that my waistband is fitting into my skirt. Just add a little stretch to it. Okay. You can kind of adjust it as you go. Being sure to keep it at 5/8 inches, or if you make your seam allowance to be much larger than that, you sew it at 1 inch or whatever. A skirt like this is pretty, it's pretty forgiving. It's a stretch knit fabric, so it'll take a lot. It'll take a lot of handling. All right, and we're just going around sewing this waistband, which is 2 layers, onto our skirt, which is just 1 layer. And I've made these skirts to have 2 different colors. So the skirt will actually be like 1 color on top, and then have an underskirt, which is showing from underneath it, which will be a different color. And that's a very pretty effect. I mean, these skirts are very versatile. You can do a lot with them. So if you have an understanding of how to basically make the skirt, you can do all sorts of styles with it, colors, fabric. And I'm actually working on a book. I've been working on this book since 2008, showing you how to make 4 simple skirt styles. And this is actually one of those skirt styles. Because if you know how to make this, you can make yourself all sorts of nice skirts. Make them for yourselves and others. With this one technique. Basically a square with a hole cut in it and attaching a waistband to it. And in this case, you don't even need elastic. If you were just using woven fabric, you would want to make this waistband have elastic in it, because once you pull that woven fabric up, it's not going to fit to your body like a knit will. It's the beauty of knits. Alright, and we're getting back to where we began. And I'm going to do a back stitch when I get there. Okay. So, we have sewn, this is our seam. We've sewn all the way around, okay? Now, what you can do, I'm gonna go ahead and just make sure I have all my pins out, and I'm just gonna go ahead and clip all my little threads, okay? Clipping all my threads. And what you can also do is go ahead on the inside and serge that seam that you just made. You can serge that all the way around because that's gonna be on the inside, but you can finish it off really nicely with a serger, or you can do a zigzag stitch, or you can just trim it down and leave it like that if you want to. I mean, it's a knit, it won't unravel, but you can definitely serge it. Now, let me show you. Here is basically my skirt. Let me back up. All right. Here we go. You see that? With that nice thick waistband, all those little points is gonna flow so well. All right, this skirt will be very nice this winter, fall or winter, with some of those knee-high boots that people like to wear with a little heel on it, or some of the flat ones and a nice jacket maybe. Okay. Now, what you can do, you can go ahead and hem the bottom of the skirt, or you can leave it like this because it is a knit. But if you want to hem it, it's going to be very easy because this is just a square. It's a square with a circle in it. Can you see? You see my face? You see how the square is shaped? It's just basically a square with a circle in it. So you can go and just hem all the way around the four sides, you know, straight, just a straight hem. Unlike a circle skirt, which probably will give you all sorts of trouble, or uneven, or curved hem could cause all sorts of trouble, okay? But basically that is how you make a handkerchief style skirt. This can be used on dresses. You can make just the bottom portion, don't do a waistband, and add a bodice, and you got a dress. I've made all sorts of things like that as well, okay? So that's basically your skirt. You can make that waistband as wide or as, you know, narrow as you want it to be, okay? That's it. And I'll take some pictures in this so you can actually see how it's going to fit on. Okay? So to recap, basically if you're going to be making a knit handkerchief style skirt, you're going to need at least 2.5 yards of fabric, okay? If it's knit fabric, it's probably going to be 56 to 60 inches wide. So you don't have to worry about making sure it's the right width. It's typically going to be pretty wide. You're also going to need some thread, and the process is basically cutting a hole into the center of the fabric once you have it folded into a square, cutting a hole in it that's going to accommodate your hips. It's going to get up over your hips, and attaching a waistband to it. Remember, however wide you want your waistband, the finished waistband to be, make sure you have double that amount in the very beginning piece of fabric that you're going to use for the waistband. So I wanted mine to be 5 inches. So I made my initial piece of fabric 10 inches so that when I folded it down to the waistband, it was a finished product of 5 inches, okay? But like I said, this style is very simple to make. It's very flattering to the figure, and you can use all sorts of fabrics and colors and just do it up. You can also do contrasting colors. I've done that also in the past, and it looks really pretty, okay? If you want to find me online, you can go on Facebook and go to facebook.com/flyTie clothing. You can also visit my blog and my site at www.flytieclothing.com, and you can also find me on Etsy at flytie.etsy.com. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you understood it, and that you will be able to use these instructions in making your own skirts or making skirts for others in the near future. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you later. Peace.